This time, let's just answer questions and then go through the process of trying to, I don't know, keep it on the same lines. I mean, what would we be doing if we were in like a setting where you were trying to define where you're at musically and what you're working on? And I guess that is my biggest question for you. These will always sit on a YouTube file somewhere that you can access. We're making them live now for people because they also use them. But the idea is anything that we're talking about finding seeping cracks inside the mental portion of your brain and during the month or week or whatever, and you go, oh yeah, okay.
Slowly. I mean, I mean, if I would work on stuff more, it definitely would be a lot quicker. But
I'm not telling you to work on stuff. I'm telling you.
You know,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, like, how much time do you have a time to sit down with your main instrument? How much time do you have to like do artillery, accidental instruments like sit down with the piano, play for like 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, once a week.
I can do that easily.
Yeah.
It's just
The mental.
The priority part of it just.
No, I agree. The biggest thing that somebody told me was it's not what you practice, it's how you practice. And it doesn't really make sense until you've done it for a period of time. Yeah. When you realize, oh, I really don't even have to practice today. All I have to do is mentally think about it.
Right. Yeah. But it's interesting though. And it's weird because it's in a different context.
I'm so tired of this bed.
But, so I spend way too much time on social media, but I came across a video, small video, of a instructor from a jiu-jitsu school.
I didn't do that well. Hold on. Keep going.
And, basically the point of the video was, within the context of why you're here, why are you here?
Yeah, why are you here?
Yeah.
So I love seeing you every week. I just want to make sure that what we're doing is like applicable for everything that you're doing with a group and.
Well, what it did though, it made me think about it, right? You say, okay, well, like for different things. Okay, why do I do jiu-jitsu?
Mm-hmm.
Am I looking to compete? Am I looking to just have fun? What am I looking for? What am I there for?
Yeah.
So it's causing.
And then you do what in your brain? You do this, right? So camaraderie, physical, mental. It's new. It's challenging. You can go through a whole diatribe of things. So your music, your music idea concept, like, what is your bullet point?
Right. So even that, along that context of that video, then I started, okay, well, why do I practice what I practice? What am I getting? Just this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll do, as an exercise, warm up type exercise. I've taken like I think it was like an 8-bar phrase of a Charlie Parker song.
Cool.
That I'll just kind of go through it slowly.
Yeah.
Which is fine because it warms with the fingers, it gets me moving. But now it's like, okay, well, why am I practicing this?
Yeah.
Is there something else I can work on?
How many Charlie Parker songs had you done till that point?
I've done a bunch of phrases, like a 2-5 phrasing.
Right, yeah.
One phrasing.
So are you trying to go for emulation, which is a big part of listening to anybody? The Bird, Parker, listening to any drummer, and being like, oh, the reason why I really enjoy this album is because this. Right. When Henderson is playing and like Miles is out there doing his thing, it's like sometimes what he's doing is a little much, but the whole band that ties it together is the best part because it's so abstract. It's like listening to 4 different records that are being played at the same time, and every once in a while they link up. Well, that turns into Fish for me. That's like, oh yeah, love it. Some people are like, I hate jazz. I hate that nonsense. Right. So why are you doing it? Do you want to emulate an artist or a sound artist? And they say, stealing somebody's lines and emulating them is the greatest sincere form of flattery. So,
but that's what I was thinking about last night too. Okay, so why am I practicing this phrase?
Mm-hmm.
Am I even going to use
that phrase?
This phrase in any sort of.
What's the other question then from there? Have you ever used any other phrase? So if you were to do like Night in Tunisia, do 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 do, have you ever thrown that into a song?
Oh, no.
The idea is that when you start looking at an artist, and like mine would be like Zappa and Trey from Fish, and like I don't know Brubeck. I really like some old school. Those break my brain because you have to go. To feel out that weirdness. So why am I practicing something? Why would you practice something? Do you utilize it? Or is it just a mental gymnastics things that you do that helps you to experience other mental gymnastics, which is also fine.
Right.
There's no right or wrong way.
You know, I mean, I think right now it's more of that mental gymnastics of just here. Okay?
Excellent.
And I'll just be around the circle.
Excellent. So you're on the fifths and the circle.
Yeah.
So bass is on your main, right?
Yeah.
So have you gone through your circle of fifths ascending?
Circle is ascending. So that'll
So
be,
every one of them, you do your circle, you get your C, your G, your D, your A, your A, your B, your F sharp, and then your C sharp. And when you go through it, you're like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. Can you go through every single letter of every single family?
I haven't gone that way. I usually just do the standards, so C, F, C, F, E flat, E
Okay,
flat,
so you're
E
going
flat.
the other way. It's all the same. So what I would suggest is doing something like this where you do a bullet point and you say, today is the day. I'm just going to leave my bass where I'm at. The first thing I do is wake up, Constitution, come back to the bass, sit down, powerhouse out, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, then go to F. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F, and then B flat, B, C, D, E flat. Go through the whole thing with all of your circle going this way.
Well, I just run the scales.
You betcha. And what happens is you're gonna start seeing force. Your eyes will start to determine force. After you see that fourth, it's often sometimes very beneficial to write your mini stave. And if you're doing bass, not treble, of course, my bad. Would do what note are you playing? Are you playing at the first fret? You have a 5-string. Are you playing at the, dig it?
Yeah.
So if you're playing at what, the 6th fret on a 5-string, you would get your F tone. Well, the same one is located on the 1st fret, so you can hypothetically put that anywhere. And if you know that your F tones are an octave apart, you have an F right here on the bass line. Well, if you were to see your 4th, F, B flat, right? G, A, B. You're gonna start imagining these notes in your sleep. That's the whole goal of seeing F and then being able to go F to A flat. So if we were to put this and have our flats here, if we were to mark out our B, where's our B?
Yeah. Second from the bottom.
There you go. So there we are. That gives us everything we need to know. But we just have our B flat right there. Well, B flat to F is how many? B flat, C, D, E, F.
So it's like fifth.
Yeah, you can see, well, F, yeah. B flat to F. It's
B
a,
flat to F.
yeah. And in this case, we would have our prime, our root, major 2nd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, and then major 6th, and then our A flat would be our. What are we doing? F flat. F has those all. How many flat noise? Idiotard. All right. So that's what it would look like as our major 7. So if we're gonna write these all out, you would look at just your distances, right? That's what the circle is. So when you're trying to see it on piano, you could also resonate with that by seeing a 4th below is their P4, and then a 5th above, and then these will always equal 9. And the way that we learn it, and I think we've done a couple of these, let's just do another one just so our brain works. There are only how many states of being for notes? Every one of them can be one of these, right? What are these?
That's it.
They are. They're augmentations or they're flattenings of notes. They can either be augmented or
Flat or diminished.
you betcha. 1, 3, sharp 5, or 1, flat 3, flat 5. So, the concept behind this is when we're sharpening, we're using the concept of the augmented for the chord. And when we're doing the flattening, we're using the concept of the major 3rd goes to a minor 3rd. Every one of these can either be perfect to perfect, it could be major to minor. The only ones that would work that way are 2, 3, 6, and 7. And the only ones that work as perfect are 1, it's called perfect prime, PP. It's the only thing, like C on a piano, you cannot have 2 Cs that are middle C or C3. C3 is C3. On a ukulele, you have 2 G strings, and when you play the G string open and the G note in the chord, and you get 2 of the same note. When we have these, you have a perfect fifth and then a perfect eighth. All of these can be augmented, but only these can be those. So when we draw something like this and we visualize our notes, and let's just say we're in the key of
G.
cool, or what's G's relative minor?
E.
Yes, and what did your brain do when you did that? What mechanism did you use?
Just go down.
But what does that mean? Did you visualize a circle? Did you think of a shaka and a hand? Have you memorized just G, E, D, B, A, F sharp?
I mean, basically my mind looking at the fretboard.
Cool. So you're imagining your bass. Now, from what perspective? Are you hovering over it, or are you looking at a diagram of it?
Over.
Cool. Here's what you do this week. In front of you. So you write out your whole fretboard, and then you put this on your wall. And the reason why it takes time is you have to get a piece of paper and a marker or a pen. Do you do 5 or 4?
Both.
Shoot.
All the way up to a 6.
Oh, really? Cool. Well, I'm getting a negate on there. It gets a little convoluted. All of our fret markings, right? Thank God, it feels right. And then you can mark them out, but the best way to do it is just ding, ding. What do you have your dots at? 1, 5, 7, 9, and then 12?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, ding, 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 ding. There we go. So knowing that all things are tangibly the same, we've got our G, our D, our E, and our A. A, E, and B. All right, so when you go through this, you don't have to name all the notes that are for here, but let's say we're talking about this key. If we had G, the first scale reference that I would see would probably be E, F, F sharp, G, right? G, and then open phrasing. Your first motif for a scale would be G, right?
Yep.
A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, you betcha. And it's weird, and then you play the open. It's a ring finger equation. That's the only one you use the ring finger for, right?
Yeah.
Commonality says that when you're doing this one here and go G, open, B, C, D, E, you're using third finger, no finger, second finger, third finger, no finger, second finger, pinky, and then open G. Well, if we went over here rather than there, the spacing, it's our A, right? Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. When we play with our second finger, we use a different fingering for here. So when you're practicing your C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, you're doing C major on top. Does not matter if you use the fingering to go dot, 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 right? You're doing Lydian. In the key of G, you have C Lydian. So you're going to compare something else we worked on, modes, and then utilize them over chord structure. So like, if you're playing in a song in the key of, let's do some chordal analysis, right? We got our colons up there. Chord analysis in the key of C. What is the 1, 4, and the 5?
1, 4, 5. So C, F, G.
You betcha. So our 1, 4, and our 5, we've got C, F, and G. How about in the G major?
So G, B, and D.
You betcha. No, that's the spelling of it. What's the 1, 4, and 5? G, A,
Oh, 1,
B,
4, 5, G,
C,
G, C, D.
you betcha. Each one of these, if we're playing Yaz, we can do what to it? What is the best chord to start off when you're playing the Yaz?
The 7th.
Yeah. And yes, sir. So yeah, we can make these all here. I'm not gonna do that because that might be confused with our Roman numeral analysis. We're just kidding, keep it here. So each one of these can turn into aves. Do we have any like partners? We sure do. G7 is gonna sound great. F major. What is F major's relative minor?
D.
Cool. If we alter this and we don't give D a major or a minor, we just play this as a D5, it's now neutral. It doesn't have any swing either of the way. The melody or the improv person can play it out. That makes another point. Do any of these need to be played as 7s, or can they all be played at 5s?
Okay.
If you were to just play the 3 and the 7 of the chord, like here, and play the 3 of G, which is
3 with the G on G, A, D.
groovy. Yeah, go back. Oh, I'm sorry. B, and then what's the dominant 7th? What's the minor 7th of G?
Of G, okay, so G would be E.
So can you play, E sharp. E is the relative minor.
Oh.
Dig it? And we're looking We're just looking for the Yaz tone. We're looking for the 1 through 5 and then the flat 7. So play the G major. Cool. And then on the left hand, just play that whole thing with your right hand. There you go. And since we're making it, nice octave. If we're doing a dominant, just use your thumb to hit the F and the G. Just, yeah. How does that sound to your ear? Nice. Cool. On the left hand, put a pinky on the G on G2. There it is. And we're gonna walk G, B, D. And then, right? And then I would love you to hear bum 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 bum. Cool. And on the other hand, you're gonna do a couple different things. You're gonna do this. You're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You got it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, and then very slowly with the left hand, get situated. You don't even have to play it, just think it and feel it in the finger. You know what I mean? Bum, 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 bum. And whenever you feel comfortable, go for it. And if it doesn't happen like magic, what do? You slow, you see the hesitation? Take a deep breath, slow down. Now instead of going at this speed, let's go at this speed. 1, 2, ready with the whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. Feel the chord on the other hand. Imagine those eighth notes. Dun, 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 dun. And whenever you feel comfortable, nail it out. Beautiful. Now keep that going. Go for duration this week, doing something like that. And when you feel like you've done it for too long, alter that one time. Da, da, and then go back to the rhythm. Now go back to the standard way. Missed it. You know what I'm saying? So here's the concept too. You're gonna hate me. Adagio kind of would be a little bit too much. How about like Andante? We'll do it Allegretto. It's just meaning below moderate. We're looking at 60 beats. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 2 alteration. Nice. Keep going. This time, your pointer finger on your right hand, your 2 finger, keep that G, but you're gonna go to the B flat, which is a minor third, and you're gonna let your finger flop off that black key right onto the major third. Beautiful. 1, 2, ready with Yaz. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, nice. That's a dotted. And then when you get that groove feeling it out, then go to the other hand, the left hand. Instead of doing eighth notes, just do the single notes. Here's our slide. Beautiful. You are starting the rock and roll process. It really is. Cool. Now watch this. Pause. What is the 4th of G? Cool. Put all of your hands back on where you left off your finger. And then you had left hand pinky G, I believe, or ring, doesn't matter. What is the distance on your left hand between the C and the G? It is. Look at your other hand. What is the distance between your 2 fingers on the G and the F, and then the C? What is the F to the C at least?
5.
Yeah. So being able to see that the G to the C is also going to be your 4. You see that?
Mhm.
On both hands. Move your whole phrasing from not the G with the F, but move your finger to play the G, only the thumb, and then put your middle finger on the B flat, and then put your pinky on the C. Beautiful. That is a C dominant 7 in an inversion. Because G is on the bass, that is a secondary inversion. Nice. Look at you. Well trained. Thelonious over here. So with the other hand, which way do you want to go? You finish your G, B, D, B, G, G, B. You can either go up to C, or go C, or do both. C, C. Nice. You do a walk down, use that C, B flat. That was naturally intuitive. Beautiful. And if I was playing with you, I'd be hitting. I would go for the arpeggio notes, and then back to the G. Flat, B flat, where your finger already is, and then beautiful. You get that off. Gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, here's the idea. We established here that you got your G7, correct, Amundo? Up at the board. Woo! We have your G7, right? We went to our C to knock out this 1-4. Does not need to be a 5 pattern if you're doing the dominant 7. What does a D minor sound like after that? Fun. So what kind of bass groove would you put below that if you were doing 1, 1, 3, 3, 5, 5? Remember, there's no right or wrong in music here. Pinky's right above an A. A is in the key of D. Either one. There you go. And what'd you go to? C?
Yep.
Cool. Then back to G.
Yes.
And then one of the ideas is, what's the relative major of D minor?
Major D minor F.
Yes. Did you go down or did you go up? And what were you visualizing? Piano or bass? Or a circle of fifths on the board?
Bass. Just seeing the notes.
Cool. So the doing of both things and then visualizing your fretboard like this, the reason why it's important, let's say we're still sticking with G here and you went to D, you would be able to assume playing all these notes, D to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E,
Yep.
F, F sharp. If we're playing G7, there is no F sharp in this equation. We're playing our F match, right? G, A, B, right? All of these would have the same effect. We wouldn't have this F sharp because we're putting it natural. We would dictate that this is G mixolydian. And then we have C Lydian. And then out of our D5, we're playing it as nothing there. So you can have it as just having a D pentatonic. You can choose either one, major or minor. You can use F major if you want, or D minor if you want to give it seniority. You can use F6 or D minor 7 if you want to have a little open area sound, but both of these chords sound the same. You could do tritone substitution on any of these. We talked a little bit about that, where you're using the fifth of the chord you're going to. It's like a secondary dominant. You're picking the one right before it, the half step, and then going backwards as a resolution rather than Tito. You're going ah, and it's a weird resolution, but it's fun. So for the week, what I would say is visualize your fretboard. Get a piece of paper, write it out, put it on your amp. When you're sitting there looking at your amp, do you play with the pick or fingers? Fingers. Cool. You can diversify both things, but when I teach like on the bass here, we do like the pull through, right? So if I'm doing this, being able to do my C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, they're all the same. When you go to your D here and you're in the pocket and you want to get that same feeling to progress upward, you can. But the practicing, let me play that off the pick because we have it. I like C, if I do, right? It's the same thing, but it's open. I would do that one for the D. D, F sharp, G, A, B. and moved it there, and I would move this somewhere like around here and have my C sharp D, right? So having a groove like, let's say you're working on blues. What structure am I playing?
No, 1, 3, 5, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Or flat something, right?
Yeah, I felt you. And here's that weird, we have a 5. Use the weird note in the open space, and then try that in every key, but use your passing tone to go to the next 5th. We played in G, well, if we did C, G, and D, let's go to A. What is A's 5th?
E.
What is E in the dominant form?
E, so
Yeah, which is what kind of chord?
minor 7.
Yeah, so when we play in our E dominant, then you could have like, it gets you really good at being like, and being able, doing minor, major movements. So if your whole thing is like, today I'm going to work on Lydian. Just get all of your fingers strong, get your brain associated with that. It doesn't have to make a lot of sense, but the idea of taking and hearing the difference. If you move up and down your scale and you have C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, C sharp, you have more of a feeling, even though it doesn't matter to be like F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. It doesn't matter that those are the note names. It's the matter that the pattern that you're seeing, you're visualizing, not to tell you how or what to play, but from 2 perspectives. From a learned side where you're visualizing the actual notation in your face, so it's from one angle at you, and then this. And what you'll find is when you start thinking more along the lines of this, you start seeing pattern recognition. And I think we've kind of touched upon it, but the only patterns really in all music, in any instrument, even if the instrument is tuned to an awkward tuning, you can always find patterns. We have these 3 patterns. One is whole steps, one is whole half, and one is half whole. Here's D, right? So if we had, how about just G? G, A, B. Well, that's this. And then you have C, D, E. Well, these 2 shapes twice, and then it goes from here, right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Well, this pattern keeps going to A. So that is that pattern. That's all I see in the beginning, and then just our takeaway. Grooving on here, it goes from having something like just your G, like you can do different patterns, like see how you're just down in a different register, right? And then you come, you throw in your diminished. When you go to your C, secondary pattern. Here's that C we were just doing. G, B flat, C. And all the chords sound great in the white keys because they're all part of C. Know what I mean? So knowing what the very special flat minor 7th, you got that because bass gives that to you. We see them in triangles, right? And like the other one on bass that I started seeing more was like a diminished. It's like a whole tone, like a 9. 1, 5, 9, but backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I use them all the time and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. To just go into another chord. Write this out, have pattern recognition, and then what we were talking about for a modus, try to put that over the top. Slow it down to the point where like, dun, 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 right? And when you feel you're like, dun, do, 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 do. Do something that has a little movement, like flat 3 to 3, flat 6 to 6, right? Just the slide fingers, and try with that in the beginning. And what you'll find is playing like the piano fills isn't so hard, and when you learn it like do 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 do, When you speed it up, they sound like gold. And they, yeah, and you just practice them a couple million times. Those are the practical applications that I would bullet point. Like, do you want to do a blues fill? Would you like to be able to come up to a band? They're like, hey, come play. And you're like, oh, or you're like, blues, key of G. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Groovy. You have fun?
Yeah.
And also, if you haven't already, that is just the
Well,
bee's knees, the metronome.
Well, usually when I practice, I'll practice. It depends. It kind of like some of these just want to do something slow. I mean, I want to use a metronome. I just kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But then
Ethereal stuff? Yeah. Yes, the blues. Hey, tell you what, if you're here watching this, I'll answer a couple questions, and then I have another student that I get to teach. Let me see what we're up to right now. And if you're watching, since on the board, great. If not, great. Hey, Zona, what are you typing? Oh, I'm not typing anything. Just figuring out stuff, I guess. Yeah, it's a music theory. It's not math. Why can't I find the normal live? That's so good, small guy. I wish you find the normal. Reddit final boss. Yeah, I always come back. Hey, how you doing? Shiny balls. W2F indeed. Yeah, there you go. Music rocks. Is this what music looks like when people understand sheet music? No wonder I couldn't tell a note when I was in choir. She gave us sheet music. She did not teach us. Interesting. Isabel, I'm very disturbed to hear that. Are you in the comment section right now? Do you want me to show you some basic music theory? Or is that just, it's boring? I can play a little something for you. Teach 21 something instruments. Do have a good time. You know. Love this little music room here. I rent from Big Island Guitars here in Hilo. Do a little production here, answer questions, and have fun all day. Tell you what, let me take a game and see. We've got a couple people here. 45. Since I'm going to send this to my student that I just had a lesson with, I'm going to stop this live stream and start right back up again. I hope you